This is day 3 of um like 28-day series that I'm doing on mindfulness talks in the morning. And maybe it won't always be in the morning, but earlier on my YouTube, I asked you all to vote for what you want me to see, what you want to see on my live streams. And I gave you the option of, do you want to see yoga classes? Do you want to see meditation classes, or do you want to see mindfulness talks? And a lot of you all voted for mindfulness talks. So yeah, welcome. Today's topic is um, what it's like to always be the strong friend, or the cost of always being the strong friend. If whether you're watching this on um, the live currently, or whether you're watching it on the replay, I would like you to comment in the comments below. Are you the strong friend? And I'm going to try to get a Q&A started as well. Are you are you the strong Are you the strong friend, and why? Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna put that Q&A there, so that you can answer throughout the live stream. So you can answer this for me. Are you the strong friend? Why? So yeah, my name is Lauren, and I'm a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 4 years now. I got my yoga teacher certification in 2022, I believe. Yeah, it was 2022 in August, and I got my meditation teacher certification in 2021, February. So I first became a meditation teacher because I started meditating myself every morning in 2020 as a way of combating stress and anxiety because, the pandemic, we were at home and a lot. And during that time, I think a lot of the world was feeling probably the same way about being at home, losing loved ones, the fact that there was like a plague going around, and also you were forced to pay attention to the social injustices that are going on your screen. Um, I think at this time we are also forced to pay attention to not only the social injustice but the economic. Um, I mean, they still fall under social injustices, but I think we haven't come. I think we've maybe not even backtrack. The lens has been unveiled of what, if you live in America, of what America has been all along, that a lot of Black people, probably, hopefully, mostly Black people, already knew what was going on in America. It's just that the lens has been unveiled um, for that sighting of what's going on right now. Um, so I just had to oil my fingertips because sometimes they get ashy. It is early in the morning for me. It's about 7 in the morning for me. So if you're here in real time, or if you're on the replay, comment below what time is it for you, where you are in the world, and where are you commenting from? I mean, where are you coming from? Are you coming from the US, UK? I don't know. Where else in the world are you from? And welcome. So today's topic is the ramifications of being the strong friend. And this like hits hard directly for me because I am that strong friend. And during this live stream, I won't keep it like very long. I just have three like topic points to talk about around this topic, and then a Q&A for you to answer. Like, are you the strong friend? And why? Or do you know someone who's the strong friend? So, to me, let's talk about like what that means, the strong friend, and why I put it in quotation marks, because you, again, I have firsthand experience with this. If you do, you know somebody in your life who Number one, every time you ask them, "Do you need help?" or "Are you good?" If you ask them, "Do you need help?" they're like, "No, I'm good. I got this." And they always appear to be good, number two. So they always say that they're good. They don't really accept help usually. They always appear to have their things together, like their ish in order. And there's not a lot of maybe things that they show in their life personally that they're struggling with. Maybe you just don't see this person struggling with a lot of things. That means a lot of their ish that they're struggling with is on the inside, and they just don't have a life that portrays their struggles outwardly. And then, so yeah, this person, you know, a person who's every time you ask them, do they every time you ask them, do they need help? Their answer is, no, I'm good. And then the second thing is, they always look like they're good, right? They look blessed and highly favored. Amen. Okay. And then the third one is that they're willing to give so much to other people. So I think those are like some three main characteristics of people who are the strong friends. So do you know this person in your life? Is it you? Um, if so, you can comment down below. Feel free to. So that's what the strong friend is in my definition. And then what can be some of the advantages and disadvantages of being the strong friend and showing up for people so intensely, pouring into people so intensely, but maybe like not getting the same in return. So when we talk about like so maybe the advantages. Let's talk about the advantages first of the strong friend dynamic. For the person who is that friend, they're getting they probably get a lot of satisfaction out of constantly pouring into others, without even if they don't get much pouring into in return. They also, as the strong friend, they know that people can count on them, and this person is usually like, a solid figure, a solid rock or something like that for other people in their life. So that could be the advantage to that person who is a strong friend. Then advantages to people around them. The strong friends, the strong friends who have people around them, the people usually benefit in a large way by having that person in their life because the people around that strong person, they know they'll always get poured into and they always know that they can have somebody to count on. Um, so the disadvantages of that is that when you're always the quote unquote strong friend, you're not oftentimes getting poured into at the same level or with the same capacity that you are pouring into others. And if you are that person, um, why do you think this is? So whether you're on a replay or whether you're here, why do you think that is that that a strong friend is the person who, even though they pour in to others constantly, they're always there to answer calls and texts when someone around them has a tragic loss in their family or um, is late on their rent or needs help with something spur of the moment, their car broke down. Why do you think it is that so many people around them count on them, but they don't count on other people? So, because of this, would you agree that um, the strong friends are people who lack the receiving end of the giving? They lack, they might lack the ability to receive in the same capacity that they can give. So they don't have a balance of maybe feminine feminine energy and masculine energy in their life. So, so far, if you enjoy this live stream and this discussion, give it a thumbs up so I know that you enjoy it, and so that other people who enjoy it too can also find it. Uh, we started to segue into this conversation of feminine energy and masculine energy and that dynamic, and everyone, regardless of who you are, has a dynamic of femininity in them and a masculinity. And I'll just explain it. Femininity, that dynamic within people, is the ability to receive, the ability to be open to new opportunities, and the ability to go with the flow. Just go with the flow. That's really femininity is. It has other dimensions, but in general, that's what it is. Then there is the dynamic of masculinity, which again, everyone has femininity and everyone has masculinity. Um, Hey, hello, the real princess. The real princess says, yes, I am the strong friend because I keep my one and only best friendship going. Dag, one and only best friendship. And we might need to talk about that for real because if you're the only one keeping it going and they not keeping it going, do you think that that friendship, like, is that something that you want to stay in? Um, or do you think that that person has other priorities and they're not able to prioritize your friendship? And are you okay with that? That's what I would ask you. So yeah, thanks for the comment. I appreciate your comment and you answering the question. So yeah, that's the femininity aspect of all of us. All of us have that. And then the masculinity aspect of people, human beings, that can show up as always being on the go when something happens in your life that may be unexpected, that may be emotionally intense. You have the ability to keep pushing through no matter what comes up in your life. And masculinity is also very Jesus loves you too. Thank you for that. Um, and then masculinity is also the dynamic of always being on go, but also being responsive to stimulus. Um, like giving, pouring into people. Also, masculinity looks very entrepreneurial. So, um, maybe you have the ability to take your emotions out of it when making decisions, etc. So, in general, that's just the generality between the two. So, now I have, like I said, I wasn't gonna make this live super super long, but so far, if you've enjoyed it, you can give it a thumbs up. Um, so number one, the first thing I have is that you train people how to treat you. So for example, I no doubt I'm the strong friend, and I could be like I'm the strong friend, and I agree that I'm a strong family member, and usually in any group, I am one of the stronger people emotionally. And I think sometimes that can mean you could be a little bit desensitized to pain, you know? Because if you're saying you're strong, what does that mean emotionally? Mm. Strong people emotionally can have the ability to, I need some water, Mm. Can have the ability to push through no matter what they handle emotionally. But sometimes that comes up as not showing emotions or not expressing emotions, right? Um, and that's because the strong friend often has a difficult time expressing emotions. And why is that? They can have a difficult time expressing emotions, especially amongst other people. It's because if other people see that you are emotionally expressive, sometimes that is seen by both parties as a weakness, which is why the strong friend, you perceive that they are the strong friend because they're able to handle others' emotions. However, they also don't show as much turbulence in their own emotions. They're more stable. Coming back to training people how you treat you, you train people how to treat you. So, for example, if you can identify that you are the strong friend and you feel like the real princess said, she said, "Yes, I'm the strong friend because I keep my one and only best friendship going." Has that ever been you before? I know that's been me. Comment below in the chat if you're watching on the replay. So, for example, not to say this is exactly about you, the real princess, because I've been through the same thing, but the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, do you want to stay in that situation? Do you want your friendship dynamic to look like that? And then if not, then I would start to examine why does it look like that? And what communication has gone on that we have like maybe indirectly communicated to the other person that we don't need the same effort put in to us than they need put into them. I think the main way that we train people how to treat us when we're the strong friend is that we say things like, "No, I don't need any help, but what do you need?" Or we're less able to receive help from others. However, we're always willing to give it so openly. Maybe it comes in the form of not having boundaries. Hi, Kane Sanchez. Welcome to the live. And I think those things that we do or those characteristics that we have to train other people how to treat us, um, they come from or they slide really nicely into my next point, which is my next point is the reason why we do that is our pride and our ego. So, for example, you're in a situation where you realize, thanks for the hearts, thanks for the likes. If you're liking this live stream, then give it a thumbs up. Your pride and ego. Ooh, let's talk about it. Because let's go back to the situation. For example, you have been friends with one of your best friends for like 5 years. And every time you want to make plans with them, they a lot of the times flake on your plans. Maybe you made plans on a Thursday, but 2 weeks ago you made the plans. Now it's Wednesday before the plans, and they're like, "Hey, something came up. So sorry. So sorry. and they even apologetic about it. I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad friend. Forgive me." But the way you show up in the friendship is usually when you all book something. If y'all say y'all gonna do something on a Thursday, you ready to do another Thursday because you done already put it on your Google Calendar. You done already marked it in your planner because it means a lot to you to show up for that person. But on the receiving end, it doesn't mean as much to them to show up for you. And then we have to assess why is that? Because if you're the strong person or the strong friend in your life and you're okay with someone not showing up for you as intensely as you show up for them, then we might need to assess why that is. Most likely you're not okay with it, but we accept it anyways because of our pride. So this is my second point. Um, pride or ego. And this is not like to say that like, the pride will kill you, or too much pride will kill you. Mm, I guess in a way it can. I think more like spiritually it can because um friendships, they are like the people who you surround yourself with. Like there's a saying that the five people surround that you surround yourself with, you are like the sum of those five people. Temptation's daughter said it depends on which friend. Okay, yeah, it definitely does because we can have different friends for different occasions, or like, if you had a friend that you met, for example, in class and you all mostly friend each other in class, or you have a friend that you go out with on the weekends, then that's your weekend friend or whatever. So that could totally be true. Thanks for that comment. Um, however, like I can give a personal example because I'm still struggling with this. At the same time, I can see from my own perspective and then also apply it in generalities to help other people to see the insight within your own life. I enjoy the feeling of people needing me. I enjoy the feeling of people asking me for help and people seeing me as the one who's always there and the one who's always loyal. One of my top love languages, because I took the love languages test, and one of my top love languages is acts of service. And also one of my top love languages is quality time. I think first it might be quality time, then maybe acts of service, and then maybe physical touch. So the Green said definitely the strong friend. I feel you. Um, so the pride and the ego might tell you that, oh, it's okay to accept more. I mean, sorry, your pride and your ego might tell you that, oh, it's okay to accept 50% from this person when I'm giving 100. Slay. Oh, thank you. It's 7:30 a.m. for me. I just hopped out of the bed and hopped on live stream, but I appreciate you. And then your pride also might tell you, or your ego might tell you that it's okay for me to give my 100 to everybody in my circle when they only get 50 back because maybe this person only has the capacity to give 50 back. Maybe this person only has the capacity to give 50 back. And that's the type of, I mean, it's still pride and ego too, because it creates this illusion that we are the super friend that's supposed to be there for everybody, because pride can distort your view of what pride can often distort your view of what you should be receiving or what you are worthy of receiving. And that's when it comes back on us as the quote unquote strong friend. Temptation's daughter said, this is a good conversation. I'm glad you think so. I enjoyed this conversation too, because I think that it's a conversation that I have a lot in different ways. Um, and then also I want to say, like, in addition to giving this live stream a like, and thank you to everybody who's already given this live stream a like. I really appreciate you for coming through and for commenting. In addition to that, if you want to answer the question, are you the strong friend and why? You know, tell me why, because let's keep this conversation going. And then also, what other questions do you have about hmm, how to how, like how to not be the strong friend, or you have a situation in your life where you're currently in this position, but you don't want to be anymore. And how do you depart from that and how do you detach from that? So, yeah, thanks for your questions and your comments. So, I said I had 3 points on this live stream. The first of being, and I have my notes right here, so I'll be writing stuff down. I'm a writing person, and this is day three. So this is my day three notes on this topic of the ramifications of being the strong friend. The first point was you train people how to treat you. In essence, that means if you're always the person who says, "No, I don't need any help. I'm good. No, I don't need anybody. No, I'm not that emotional. I don't really show my emotions. I just cry in the shower and cry in the shower only, and I cry in the car only." I'm talking about myself. I'm talking to myself by myself because I cry in the shower all the time and cry in the car all the time. Um, you train people how to treat you with the things that you tell people and also the things that you allow people to dump on you emotionally. And the lack of boundaries. This is really a lack of boundaries. So let me write down real quick. How do we set boundaries? What are boundaries? Because I'm gonna come back to that in the end. Point number two was watch your pride or your ego. That is often the energy that allows us to say things like, no, I don't need any help, when really, um, we do need help. Because as human beings, we are wired to support each other, to love on each other. And just think about this saying, it takes a village to raise a child. If, for example, having a child is a lot of work. I ain't never done it before, but I heard it's hard. And I think if you don't have the support behind you to raise a child, but the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Why why do we think that it doesn't? Why are we the ones that think, "Oh, everybody else need a village, but I'm good. I'm good just by myself." No, every that applies to everyone. And then number 3 is, why are you willing to give so much but not to receive? Temptation starter say, "You just described me. I take on a lot and have realized that I do not have anyone to support me when I need to be vulnerable. This is a tough spot for me." Hey, I stand with you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Hey, if you relate to her, drop a one in the chat. You don't even have to say how you relate to her in one way. Just put the number one in the chat if you relate. Um, because I don't know how to comment. How do I comment? But I'm gonna drop a one for you because I'm gonna put a one. Like if I was able to comment right now, I would put a one because that's me too. So you're definitely not alone. And you said you just realized that you don't have anyone to support you when you need to be vulnerable. Um, how can you how can you start to well, I would ask you first, hmm, why do you not have those people? Because is it that maybe you don't have the people in your life who you trust enough? Maybe you have people in your life, but you don't trust them with the things uh that you need support with. Um, or and then I would also say, then where can you start to put yourself in a position to be more open to receiving? Because um I'm a person who believes that because we train people, like my first point, we train people how to treat us, we also attract the things that we tell ourselves that we want or we need. So if your belief is that you take on a lot and that you don't need that extra support, but you know that you do, but you tell yourself that you don't because you don't want to be vulnerable. Um, my understanding is first, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to be vulnerable in the first place. But as the strong person, we have to start to practice like that level of vulnerability because it opens up a lot more opportunities for us to heal from that. One of those things that may be missing is trusting yourself to when someone comes in your life that you feel like you may be able to get some reciprocity from, trusting that that reciprocity is genuine, trusting that you will receive the effort that you're given. And also, I know this is like a lot of information too, but I've learned this over years and years. I'm saying like I'm saying that like I'm decades older than what I am, but sometimes in my gut, I be feeling like I be old, but like not that old, but I be kind of older than what I be because I'm 26. But another thing is when you do start to trust other people, um people will like okay, this is the thing about human beings. Human beings going human and they going to be. That means that I'm a human being, I'm imperfect. Everyone around me, regardless of how kind they are, regardless of how much they have great intentions, regardless of how much they're trying to heal the things within them that they know are messed up, they have the ability to hurt everybody else in their life. And so do we. So do you. So do I. We have the ability to hurt everybody else in our lives because we're imperfect human beings. And what I had to learn, especially in the relationships that I had, is that I can't, even despite all the boundaries that I put in place, I can't put such a boundary on somebody that allows them that allows me to expect them never to hurt me. I can never tell nobody, hey, if you ever hurt me, it's over. If you ever break my heart, it's over. Because as a human being, I understand and recognize that other human beings are going to do that because it's part of our nature. So, part of trusting yourself and being a little bit more emotionally reliant on ourselves is knowing that when you trust, a byproduct of trust is that you're going to get hurt some in some capacity to some extent. Now, a caveat to this is that inside of trust, like this is trust, inside of trust, we have to be willing to forgive. Like we have to kind of like enter into relationships with people in our life, and this is friendships, relationships, family members, with the ability to actually forgive before people even are going to prepare to hurt us in a way. Um, Reason being is that when you are prepared, I wouldn't even say prepared to be hurt because that is also coming out of a place of like some attachment style like difficulties. But know that people are imperfect. Then when people hurt your feelings or when they step outside of your trust, know that whether they did it on purpose or not, most of the time it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and their problems. Because same thing for you. Like if you hurt somebody else, right? Most of the time it got nothing to do with them, right? It has everything to do with you and your flaws. And we know that, but for some reason, when it comes to other people hurting us, we we are so emotionally like we feel so emotionally vulnerable. So, okay, I just said a lot. And then my brain, I'm coming back to the main point. Brain, what is the main point? The main point is about your ability to open up. And this is what it's all about. The strong people, we have inability to open up because we have an inability to be vulnerable. Why is that? That we have an inability to be vulnerable? Because we have an inability to trust because we've been hurt by people in the past. Okay, so if we've been hurt by people in the past, we can only look forward. Ooh, we can only look forward to the future. And the way that we proceed with caution is know that people aren't going to stop hurting our feelings because of that. we have to be more vulnerable if we want to open ourselves up to having reciprocity. Then and only then can we feel more fulfilled and have more fulfilling relationships with other people. Because as you proceed to move with caution, but still trust that your relationships will be more fulfilling and that you'll receive more reciprocity because you actually love yourself, then you'll start to attract that in your life. So I would say to all of you who may feel like you don't have those people in your life right now, I would say because of the lack of wanting to be vulnerable, wanting to show your emotions, you've probably pushed a lot of those opportunities away to receive the same thing that you're giving. Um, unfortunately, but fortunately for you, you now have more self-awareness to know you can work on that and like what are the steps to start working on that. So yeah. Mm. Temptation starter said, I'm 54, I have a son your age, but we can learn from everyone. Yep. I often I often feel like I kind of like have the same relationship with my mom because my mom is a little older. She's 60, she just turned 60 this year. But we've been having the same conversation with my mom, and my mom be like, "Yeah, you're right. Wow, I learned a lot from you." I'm like, I don't know. May have a couple generations of wisdom in me. But um yes. So, my first point was like, you teach other people how to treat you. Then next, your pride, your ego, can often get in the way of that, but that's okay. We can work on that. We can fix it. And then, why are we willing to give so much but not to receive? And I think that's why. It's because giving feels very non-vulnerable. Because when you give, you don't have to be emotionally vulnerable at all. You just give, and then also, to people who, like me, have maybe like acts of service or yeah, like a acts of service, is like a high on your list of what's it called, love languages, then giving could seem really easy to you, or like giving gifts or, yeah, giving could seem really easy to you. And also, like, if you if you like to be the caretaker and like take care of other people because it helps you kind of like fulfill something in you, then it's really easy to give and not receive. Because sometimes, like, to people who are the strong friend, right? Like, receiving doesn't feel as fulfilling as giving. So how can we reframe our perspective to believe that receiving can be just as fulfilling as giving to other people? Um, to answer that, I feel like a way that we can reframe our brain is believe that receiving is a good thing, is a positive thing for us. Receiving support, receiving love, and that it's a sign that we are emotionally balanced and emotionally vulnerable. So I talked about in in some way or another setting boundaries, and I will give one example of how I had to personally set boundaries in friendships. Um, I had one friend who I guess I'm still cordial with, but had to set boundaries with this friend. We had actually been friends since we were 10 years old. And we knew each other since we were 10 years old. And we weren't like very close after our primary school or after our elementary school because we went to different middle and high schools. And then after college, well, actually during college, met up again because we worked together at the same department store in the mall. Oh, might be giving up too much information, but anyways, we we really connected on a lot of things life life-wise, and had a similar journey throughout life, similar experiences. And once we started to hang out with each other, a lot of a large thing that we connected on um was our faith at the time. And we used to like go to the same church at the time. And she, would say, "When do you want to hang out?" And we would get together and hang out, every once in a while. So I would see her because we would go to church pretty often and have Bible study. And then later on, something shifted to where whenever she was dealing with something that was really emotionally draining in her life, it seemed like maybe I was the go-to person. And whether it was having, a lot of anxiety that day, whether it was um, something very adverse happening in her life. And a lot of the times, I didn't really have anything going on in my life that I felt was drastic enough to share. And that's probably one of the first ways that I trained this friend to, and just in general, to have them believe that I'm one of the strong people who doesn't go through anything and who doesn't need any support, because I don't open up, or at the time, I didn't open up enough about the things that I struggle about in life. I would just listen to what she struggles about, and it would be a lot of things. And a lot of my responses to the things that she would tell me is a lot of things about emotional intelligence, and just knowing that whatever's going on in your life, whatever pain you're feeling, whatever you're going through, um, know that you've been through pain before, and now you no longer feel that pain. So this pain that you feel is for a season, and you can do things in the moment to help dissolve that pain. But know that whatever you think is a big deal right now, it probably isn't going to be a big deal in a year, because the things that were a big deal 2 years ago aren't a big deal today. So the same thing is going to keep happening because you're going to go through it. Anyways, after a while, it became one sided, because when we started to schedule, when I wanted to hang out with her and get together with her, the answer would be started to become, um, "I'll see, I'll check my schedule." And then the schedule may have never been checked. Um, Over and over, maybe I reached out to plan to hang out, and the plans, if we made any, either that this person the day before would cancel the plans last minute, or we had plans on that day, then they forget about the plans, and then after that day hit me up and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We made plans. I forgot. I didn't have time, whatever, whatever." However, I sometimes would look at this person's Instagram story just because that's what we do. And on their Instagram story, they would be hanging out with other friends that they had. Now, that already shows you that whatever happened, that our friendship became less of a priority to them, for whatever reason. The reason kind of doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because what happened was there was effort on my side that was being put in that wasn't received. So how did I handle that? I because I was in an emotional state about that, because this happened for months, I had to think about how I was going to address this and tell this person about themselves. And that was one of the first times that I actually told a person about themselves. Usually, personally, what I do, this is just me, but usually personally what I do when someone or somebody is treating me like that is I go ghost. I ghost them because I personally am not the best at confrontation, or at least I don't think I am. And I think that could be another characteristic of strong people because um a byproduct of like a byproduct of, you know, what will I say about this? Um a byproduct is letting people walk all over you because you're often giving, 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 not receiving. So people are walking all over you anyways. That can be one of the byproducts, not telling people about themselves, not being confrontational because something had to happen to where you didn't set boundaries in the beginning, to where your boundaries that you didn't set, but you had in your brain, but you just didn't tell nobody you had them, have been disrespected over and over. But nobody ever knew that you had these boundaries. So how are they supposed to respect something that they didn't even know was in place in the first place? So a lack of telling people about themselves is what I had done. Then I saw how that played out, and this was the last time that this has happened, this specific situation, and that was maybe like a year and a half ago now. And it was the last time because this was the first time that I decided to actually set those boundaries. And then when I did set those boundaries, it wasn't even with this person, because it was after so many boundaries had been like stepped across. I What I had to say wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. And because of that, we are cordial, but we're no longer friends. So I would say, in terms of setting boundaries, the first thing I would say, because my story, I don't know if you have a story like that, but the first thing I would say is set them early. Like tell people tell people what it is and what it ain't early on, so they know. Kind of you set the tone for what it's gonna be. And another thing is that like some people may not understand at first why you have certain boundaries. If they don't understand, that's one thing. It's okay for people to not understand, but as long as they respect it, that's okay, I think. However, it's one thing for them not to understand, it's another thing for them to hear what you say, but just then again and again and again step over your boundaries like you didn't say what you said in the first place. And for that, we just have to be kind to people because we don't know what people are going through, but we also have to be kind to ourselves. So setting clear boundaries is super important. Do I have a third one? A third one around how to set boundaries is be consistent with it. I wouldn't advise against setting boundaries with somebody. Let's say you set boundaries with a family member who keeps, I don't know, asking you for money. And they always need money for something. Their car broke down and need some money. They late on a rent payment, they need some money, they need some money, and they always come to you because you're the money person. But at some point, if you did it like once or twice, then it's okay. But then at some point, like the third and fourth, and then 10th time that they ask, if you said the same thing, then I- this like despite whether or not we feel like people need us, they really they don't. And that's another thing I had to learn. We feel like as a strong person, people need us because without us, oh my God, without us, they would be broke, they would be lost, whatever we feel like. Is why we pour into people so much. But really, they don't need us because if we say no, if we step in and tell them our boundaries, they're probably just going to go to somebody else and find the resources that they need. If it's resources, if it's time, if it's attention, and you just don't have it to give, then you don't have it. But what happens is we feel like that person needs us because we've been giving them all that we have. But as soon as we set our boundaries, we'll realize they don't need us. They just need to find somewhere else to get what they're trying to get. They just need to go somewhere else and find it. So that's another thing I think around setting boundaries. Don't feel like people need you because there's probably multiple people in their circle, in that person's circle that they can probably go to, and no one person who really cares about us and loves us is going to put that level of stress on us to always be their supplier of whatever they feel like they need supplied. Temptation Starter said, is showing up and pouring into others constantly a form of codependency? I honestly think it is. And I'm kind of blanking on the attachment styles, but it's like it's also associated with a certain attachment style. Um, but anyways, yes, I think that it is because we're both like you're both dependent on each other in a way. Um, here's a really good example. There's a series, I think it's like on HBO Max or whatever, but I watched it when I was younger. It's based on a true story about a mother who kind of makes her child believe that her child is sick. And there's like multiple forms of this kind of show, but it's a it's a real story, true story from multiple like stories. Like there's a mother, right? She has a daughter, and the daughter has to take all these medications all day. And the daughter's like in a wheelchair and like she can't walk properly. She has to always have supervision when she goes out. Maybe like during the day she has seizures and stuff like that because oh yeah, and like she can't have certain foods. It's like all these allergies that she has, and then she has to go to the doctors and get regular checkups and stuff like that. She got 12 different medications she's taking. And the mother is the one constantly taking care of the daughter. And on from the outside looking in, it would seem like the mother is maybe this wouldn't be something that a mother would want to go through, right? Because her daughter's sick. So she wishes for her daughter to be well, right? I think a normal mentally, I would say normal, but like a mentally sane mother would want her daughter to be healthy, right? But in this story, um, the mother is not mentally okay. But regardless of like where both people are in the mental state, that dynamic is a codependent dynamic because the mother is actually dependent on the daughter needing her. And then the daughter is dependent on the mother or needing the mother. So it's like even the person who's constantly giving and constantly taking care of the other person, in a way, is dependent on the person on the other end to need them. And this feeling of wanting other people to need you is, I think, a certain type of attachment um, that we can examine ourselves for. And like, yeah, it is a story of Gypsy, exactly. Gypsy Rose. And there is another like movie um, uh, that I watched that's just like this. And yeah, there is another movie that's just like this. There's actually two other movies that I know that are just like that. Um, so yeah. Well, this was a good conversation and um in if you're watching on the replay, definitely give this live stream a thumbs up. Thank you all so much, everybody who got on the live, who commented, and if you enjoyed it, you can maybe like share with a friend, and also you can join day 4. So I'll actually be going live every morning um throughout the month of February. And throughout this month, we'll be having different mindfulness talks. And because you all said that you didn't want yoga or meditation classes, you want mindfulness classes. And then every so often, I will give uh, a practice, a mindfulness practice that you can incorporate as well with these conversations, a daily mindfulness practice that you can do as well. And I'll share some like breathing techniques and meditation and mindfulness practices that have helped ground me throughout the years. Um, so yeah, join me on day 4, probably around the same time, if not, maybe a little earlier. Um, Wonderful convo. I subscribe to your channel. Thanks so much for subscribing, and I'm so glad you enjoyed the conversation today. We'll be having a lot like this on this channel since I know you all like this because if there's one thing about me, I can talk. And not only talking about, you know, mindset and bettering yourself, but just about the self-improvement aspect of it. And this is one of my main specialties because it's my personal uh like my personal life that I'm still kind of going through. So Um, I will see you all tomorrow around the same time for a different topic around mindfulness. And have a great rest of your day. If it's in the morning for you, make sure to drink your water and stay hydrated and stay healthy. All right, y'all. Peace. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.